Welcome to the Airplane Spoon podcast, where I talk about real questions and real stories about feeding children. I'm Sarina Murrell, a feeding therapist and director of the Airplane Spoon. Every week, I share stories from my feeding therapy practice and talk about the challenges many families experience around food and meal times. Today's question is, why won't my child eat any vegetables? If you're wondering why your child refuses vegetables, you're definitely not alone. This is probably one of the most common concerns parents share with me. And the truth is, there are some very real biological reasons why vegetables can be challenging for children. All right, here's our question again. Why won't my child eat more vegetables or any vegetables? So let me talk you through this. First off, I want to talk through the science of taste. If we think about food, the immediate reaction is taste and sensory as well, and we'll get to that. But taste is the taste buds in our mouth. How are we perceiving this? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it bitter? Is it sour? And we think about our senses, like, our sight and our hearing, as we understand that those can fade off the older that we get, like our vision is kind of prime in our 20s. And then as we get closer and closer to 40, 50, 60, our vision isn't as optimal. And we might need some corrective lenses, same with hearing. But for some reason, we don't think that taste could also diminish like this. And it does. Listen to this. Children have more taste buds than adults. How many more? Well, there's varying research and numbers out there, but it can range anywhere from 10,000 to 30,000 active taste buds. And adults, we are calculated to have fewer than 5,000. So children might be feeling and sensing and tasting food in their mouth anywhere from double to 6 times the flavor experience that we as adults have. Our taste buds naturally decrease as we age. And because of this, children can taste flavors more intensely, especially bitter flavors. And guess what has bitter flavor? Vegetables. Things like broccoli, kale, spinach, Brussels sprouts, they're more bitter. And so for having an immediate refusal or I don't want it, it's almost like evolutionary. Bitterness is nature's way of protecting us. Many poisonous plants that we should not eat are bitter. So children are actually wired to be cautious of bitter foods. Whereas we have a sweet preference where babies are born preferring sweet, which helps them identify high energy and safe foods like breast milk or fruits. And so the bitterness flavor profile and how intense that is can be a reason why children might be refusing vegetables. Their taste buds are more sensitive than ours. And so if we say we taste broccoli and we're like, oh, it tastes fine, or oh, it's good. And your child says, no, yucky. They might be tasting it stronger or overwhelmingly bitter. So that's just something to keep in mind as we continue to talk about vegetables and how we can support more vegetable eating in our children. The second thing I want to talk to you about is predictability. Vegetables are a produce food. They're not consistent like crackers or pasta, which is more of a processed food. So anything that comes in a package, crackers, cookies, pasta, fruit gummies, or whatever, they have to be the same. They have to have the same presentation, same taste. But vegetables, they can vary in their texture, in their flavor, in their firmness, in their juiciness, in the taste that it has. So especially think about like a tomato, let's say a cherry tomato. One can be a little bit sweeter, another might be a little bit more sour, or a cucumber might be very crisp, and maybe this cucumber is a little bit soft and watery. So that variability of living foods, produce, fruits and vegetables, means that they change or they're not as consistent. And that unpredictability can feel uncomfortable for children, especially as they're still learning to trust foods, first time exposures. I don't know what this is. Everything's brand new to them. They don't know what it is that they're getting on their plate every day. And children need predictability to feel safe. So, how can we be thinking about predictability around vegetables to help children to feel more comfortable and confident around trying them? The next area I want to talk to you about is the idea of hiding vegetables, putting it in different recipes and hiding vegetables so that your child is getting more. Now, you can absolutely add vegetables into foods like smoothies or maybe a pasta sauce. It's a great way to get some more nutritional component into those foods. But personally, I don't recommend hiding vegetables without your child knowing. If a child discovers hidden vegetable unexpectedly, right? That you put maybe some cauliflower in the mac and cheese sauce, and then they saw that, well, they're going to feel tricked, as would you. Think about this. If I make you some cookies and then I give you the cookies, here you go, have a cookie, and then you take a bite, and I'm like, haha, you don't know what I put in there. You're immediately going to be like, what did you put in here? What is in here? So there's a level of trust in transparency. Trust in food, it can decrease if we're trying to trick our children and hide things. Their food anxiety can increase, and their future acceptance of any kind of new food is going to be a lot harder. This is especially important for children who are already struggling with a limited amount of foods that they accept. Because if your child finds out, and many do, and parents are all like hiding and being like, hurry, quick, put the powder in, whatever it is, it can feel like trust is broken. And when trust around food is shaky, children become even more suspicious and cautious around food. So, how could you do this instead? Well, tell them or involve them or normalize it as part of your everyday food prep. Right? To say, oh, I'm going to put some cauliflower in your mac and cheese. I'm going to blend it all up. Tell them. Or let them be part of it. Come over here. Let's put some cauliflower. How many do you want to put? 4, 5, 6? Let's blend it up in the blender. Pouring it in. As soon as they're part of it, they're going to feel like they have more interest in that because they were involved. And you can normalize recipes or routines or how you do things around your house by including vegetables in it. If you say that on every lunch plate, we have our pasta and our fruit and our crackers and a veggie, and that's just our plate or a dinner plate. One thing I do at the Airplane Spoon is I make smoothies a lot with children, and I will tell them that to make a smoothie, we need to pick one fresh fruit, one frozen fruit, one vegetable, and one liquid. And they can pick all of those. A lot of times there's fresh fruit options. Maybe they want to put banana, or they want to put pear, or they want to put grapes. Doesn't really matter. They can put whatever they want in there. For frozen fruit, I have some options like raspberries or mango or strawberries, blueberries. And then for veggie, I have fresh veggies, sometimes like beets or peas or corn or spinach. And I have some frozen vegetables too. But I let the child choose. So sometimes they want to put like a centimeter of a leaf of spinach. Sure, they put a vegetable in. And we're going to go with that. It counts. And sometimes they're like, okay, we're going to add carrot as the vegetable. Okay, sure. Carrot, orange, banana. Yeah, that works. Or they'll want to add beets to our smoothie. All right. Peas. I've even had corn or broccoli as the vegetable in our smoothie. Now, I'm not always the biggest fan of how it tastes, just based off of my flavor profile. But who am I to stop them? They got the rule, they got the recipe, and that we need a veggie. They put it in and they can decide too, like, broccoli smoothie isn't as good as spinach smoothie. But they're learning and they're experimenting with that. So why not? Um, the next area I want to talk about related to vegetables is healthy talk. Okay. And why healthy talk can backfire. What do I mean by healthy talk? Is that language that sometimes parents or teachers, any kind of childcare person might use with children around the foods that they eat, around what is healthy or what is unhealthy, and that they need to eat this to be strong and to grow. Many of us heard these things growing up too. Like, eat your carrots. They're going to help your eyes. Or this has vitamins. It'll help you grow. Don't you want to grow big and tall like your dad? And while this comes from a place of love or worry about the future implications of nutrition deficits, I understand that, it can actually create pressure or fear for children. So, to better understand this, I want to explain to you how the developing brain works for children. Children are very category black and white, all or nothing, either or thinkers. In the beginning, this is how their brain is trying to associate. And so, this is like good guys and bad guys when we're talking about books or shows or movies or pretend play. And we talk about like that they're happy or they're sad. There's a lot of opposites, but their brain is primed to think this way. So if you tell a child, for example, I'm so happy when you eat your broccoli, they're going to think you're not happy when I don't eat my broccoli. They're just automatically opposite associate. And if you tell a child like that this is healthy food and this is unhealthy food, they're going to, first of all, feel really bad and a little bit scared about unhealthy food. Like they want to eat a cookie and they're like, oh, is it going to make me sick? Is it okay if I eat a cookie because it's bad? They put it in the bad label box. And there's reasons, there's challenges. We already talked about some of them in terms of taste and predictability of why they're hesitant around vegetables. But they hear that and they have that pressure of like, this is good for your body, or this has vitamins, or you're not going to grow. And then they start to fear that something bad is going to happen to me if I don't eat this, that I am lesser of a person, or I'm not going to be as good of a person if I don't eat this. None of this is conscious. None of this is even recognized by a child, but the subconscious processing of how they're internalizing these messages can have a deeper rooted effect. The other thing is time referencing. Children, in the way that they are motivated for things, it's very much the here and now. So, have you heard of the marshmallow test? Where they're talking about like they give a plate of marshmallows for children, or they say like you can eat this one marshmallow now and I'm going to leave the room, or if you don't eat it and when I come back I'll give you another marshmallow. It's about delayed gratification, but there's a certain age when children can actually process that because it's executive functioning skills. It's about thinking about reward and future long-term benefit versus short-term. A lot of times children don't understand much of the long-term implications because their brain is still very much focused on the here and now. They Their motivation is, does it taste good? Do I like it? That's their motivation, not like, oh, is this going to help me in my nutrition in the long term? That's how adults think. That's what we want to know is like how this benefits us in the big picture. But they're not like, oh, this has beta carotene or vitamin C. I want to eat this. It's more about just how it looks and feels and pleasurable in their bodies. And the other piece around development is around kind of power struggles. Children want to be able to decide. This starts at like 18 months, 2 years old, 3 years old. Children want to be able to decide things for themselves. They're developing their sense of autonomy and they want to decide what it is that they want to do, what they want to eat, what they want to play with, everything. And the thing is that children do want to grow. They do want to be strong. We know that they do have these associations that that's a good thing, but they don't want to feel forced or scared or negative associations around food and the expectation of feeding. When food becomes linked to fear, if you don't eat this, your teeth are going to fall out. I've heard this before. I'm not saying that I don't understand the desperation of the parents. I get it. They are very worried about their child's nutrition. But trying to put that on the child is not that child's, it's not within that child's capacity in their brain to even process that. And that just results in more stress and anxiety and negative associations. And so instead of thinking like, you need to do this or something bad will happen, how can we make it feel more safe instead of stressful? How do we replace some of that language? And the way I want you to think about this is how can we use fact and observable language as opposed to really abstract vitamins, long term internal processing thinking. So you could say something like, these carrots are really crunchy, or this is very sweet, or this has a strong smell, or oh, I'm going to lick it and it's wet. These are sensory experiences that are fact based, that they don't have to be denied because I can actually experience that and have that same association as you. Like, it's wet, it's wet. It can reduce that pressure and it can encourage curiosity and build familiarity because we're putting language to facts. So this is what I know about this to be true. And that supports trust. And that matches how children's brains are more programmed to learn. They learn through experience. They learn through touching and tasting and smelling and licking and exploring and mashing and messy. Sure, they learn through that. As opposed to telling them and all of this stuff about how this benefits you, and vitamins and minerals and how you're going to grow. They don't really learn through that way. They will later as they get more and more closer to adulthood and the adult brain. So try talking about how food feels or looks like, the experience around it to relate more to a child's brain development in terms of the language that we're using around food and how we can expose a child. Which leads me to my next area is exposure. Children don't eat vegetables. My kid doesn't want to eat any veggies. What my question back to parents is, do you eat veggies? Sometimes parents will laugh because I just throw it right back at them. And they know it's true that they don't eat vegetables. And so we're asking children to do things that we're not doing. Little hypocritical. A lot of times kids eat better than adults because we want them to be healthy and to have good nutrition and health. But we do need to expose children, right, to eat vegetables in front of them, they're seeing that those are safe and they can learn through social modeling. And they're going to be able to see, oh, that's really crunchy. Or, oh, that's more mushy, or whatever it is that it looks like, so that they can feel more comfortable and imagine themselves eating that as well. So, modeling and exposing and having vegetables readily available and a variety of vegetables. There's different studies out there that show that most people eat the same like 2 to 3 vegetables every week. And if you are a family like that, could you just get one different kind of vegetable? Because there are many out there, and it might just be a matter of something new, something different, and that might resonate better with your child. Now, I do want to make sure I clarify something. I'm not saying that nutrition doesn't matter because, yes, it matters. Of course, it does. Vegetables do amazing things for our bodies. And the reason why families and parents want their children to eat more vegetables is because they know that that's going to benefit their child's growth, their digestion, their gut health, their energy, their sleep. But when we're helping young children to eat vegetables, can we focus on comfort, positive associations, and letting children to explore and learn in the way that's comfortable and safe for them, as opposed to pressure and force or making it a whole nutrition lesson? That's what I wanted to clarify for that. And to wrap up, I want to share with you some tips that I have about how to introduce vegetables and how you can try at home maybe some different strategies and think about this in a different way. So, to start to introduce vegetables, I like to introduce vegetables by themselves. A lot of times, vegetables can be in dishes. For example, toppings on a pizza or in a taco or on a hamburger or in a curry, mixed in, right? But that's hard to understand if I don't know what that is by itself and now it's mixed in with all those things. So, experiencing vegetables by themselves is my first tip that's going to help children to really learn and understand what is this vegetable in the first place. And then, secondly, is first experiencing the vegetables in the raw form before we go to cooked. And here's why. Raw form vegetables are going to support our learning because they're often going to be more consistent in their taste and in their texture. So think about like a raw carrot. It's going to be pretty consistently firm, pretty consistently the same flavor. Um, and that they're also going to get more input to their mouth if it's more crunchy, easier to like recognize where it is, or I can take it out. I can like put in a piece of carrot and take it out. I feel it, I understand it better, and I could crunch it and take it out. And so, and if it's cold, it's also going to reduce the flavor profile a little bit. Cold temperature kind of mutes the flavor profile. So then I don't have to process so much flavor. A cold cucumber is going to have a little bit less taste than a room temperature cucumber. Cold carrot versus a room temperature carrot. And then this is the caveat or the comparison of cooked. First, just related to that point, cooked vegetables have stronger taste. And they have very different tastes. A cooked carrot tastes very different than a raw carrot. A raw broccoli could taste very different than cooked broccoli. And there are some vegetables that we maybe don't eat raw, but many you can. You can even eat corn raw or peas raw. It's okay. We're just exposing them. But the cooked side, there's more variability because how much do you cook it? It might be more firm. It might be more mushy. Do you add salt? How much salt or not salt? Do you add oil or butter? Yes or no? There's a lot more range of variability when we get into the cooked side than we're just on the raw side. And so exposing children to fresh, raw vegetables like cucumbers or carrots or snap peas or bell peppers can give them clear sensory feedback, and it can help children to feel more comfortable with foods that become more predictable. So, if your child is not eating vegetables yet, it doesn't mean that they never will. It means that they're still learning and their bodies are still developing. Their taste buds are very strong. Their brain is still trying to sort out the language and the associations and understanding around all of this. And their comfort with food is still growing. So, our job isn't to force vegetables, it's to build trust around food and exposures so that vegetables can become something that's just routine and automatic, not a daily struggle. That's what I have for you today. Thank you for joining me on the Airplane Spoon podcast. Feeding challenges can feel really overwhelming for families, but you're not alone. Many children need time, support, and positive experiences with food as they learn to eat. Remember, you're doing an amazing job supporting your child on their feeding journey. You got this. Love, enjoy, and eat.